Your Excellency, welcome to our studio. Today we are talking to His Excellency of Israel to Ukraine, Michael Brodsky.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Your Excellency, today is the second anniversary of the massacre in Kibbutz, October 7th, 2023. And more than 1,000 people were killed, and a lot of people were taken hostage. And about 48 people are still being held hostage. What are the prospects of releasing all of them?
Well, thank you very much for mentioning it. Indeed, two years ago, on the 7th of October, an assault was perpetrated by the Hamas terrorists, and as a result of it, more than 1,000 Israelis, mostly civilian people, were killed. And as you mentioned, Hamas still holds a number of Israeli hostages. Unfortunately, not all of them are alive. We know that some of them, unfortunately, are already dead. But nevertheless, we demand the return of all the hostages, both those who are alive and those who are dead. And we immediately after this attack, we launched the military operation against the infrastructure of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And we had two goals. This operation had two goals. First, to release all the hostages, and the second goal, to dismantle the infrastructure of terror, which was built by Hamas over a period of many years. And we are still pursuing these goals because this is crucial for us if we want to keep Israel safe and independent, if we want to keep our citizens safe. We won't be able to live next to a terrorist entity. That's why we are continuing this military operation. In the same time, we are conducting indirect talks with Hamas, with the assistance of the United States, with the assistance of some Arab states, in order to reach those goals, not by military means, but by promoting the negotiations. And as we speak, there is a proposal on the table, which was presented just recently by the President Trump, President of the United States, which basically guarantees Israel that all the hostages will be released and that Hamas will not control the Gaza Strip anymore. We have accepted this proposal. Now we are awaiting the response from Hamas. We really hope that Hamas will respond positively to this proposal, and this is how we can end this situation, we can end this war. If Hamas will reject this proposal, we'll have no other choice but to continue this military operation until we reach these two main goals.
Your Excellency, at 9 a.m., Ukraine observes a moment of silence to commemorate all those who died, the soldiers and the civilians who died in Russian-Ukrainian war. And one of them is Dmitro Fialka, called Sign Ship, who served in IDF's Nahal Brigade and took part in Lebanon-Israeli war 2006 against Hezbollah. And he was a football trainer. And when the full-scale offensive started, he came to Ukraine to fight, and he actually joined the right sector, and he was killed in October 2022. Do you know any other stories of such defenders who came from Israel to Ukraine?
First of all, I remember very well his story. If I'm not mistaken, his family lives in Lviv area, and I remember this story. And there are many other similar stories of people who had dual citizenship, Ukrainian and Israeli citizenship, and unfortunately were killed or died during this war. And obviously, since they had Israeli citizenship, we had to deal with all the arrangements, and sometimes the family want the body to be transferred to Israel, to be buried in Israel. So we know about these cases, but in most cases, we are talking about people who have dual citizenship. They are Ukrainian citizens and they are Israeli citizens, and some of them volunteered to serve in the Ukrainian army to fight the war. You know, I don't know the exact number of these people, but I think it's quite significant.
Do you think that example of Dmitro Felka, who was a trainer of Maccabi football team, came from Israel and joined the right sector and very much respected by his comrades, can counter this Russian propaganda about, accusation in neo-Nazism in Ukraine and things like this?
Well, there are plenty of human stories here over the last 4 years. Some of them are related to Israel in a certain way. But I keep saying it all the time. There is no Nazi regime, as the Russian claim, and there is no Nazism or even nationalism on the official level. It doesn't mean that there is no anti-Semitism in Ukraine like in any other country, but from this perspective, Ukraine is not different to any country in Europe or elsewhere. So I think that this claim is unfair, and I keep saying it all the time. And the very fact that the president is a Jew, and he's absolutely open and straight about it, the fact that the Jewish community here is, first of all, very influential, very vibrant, very developed. The Jewish life here is very developed, and I enjoy Jewish life here. Just recently we celebrated Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and I participated in several celebrations with several communities. So the Jewish life, despite the war, is flourishing in this country. So this is at least part of the answer to your question.
Your Excellency, could you tell us more about the rehabilitation and prosthetic programs for Ukrainian veterans in Israel?
So from the very beginning, Israel provided humanitarian assistance to Ukraine, and we focused on the medical sphere since we have very, I would say, unique experience in this field, and we are a very advanced country in terms of medical services, in terms of rehabilitation. So I can just remind you of the field hospital, which we deployed in western Ukraine at the beginning of the war. But in addition, we decided that we should train the Ukrainian professionals, and we brought a huge number, like a few hundred of Ukrainian professionals for study in Israel on the subject of both physical and psychological rehabilitation. And in addition, both the government of Israel and the Israeli NGOs provided crucial assistance to Ukraine in this field of rehabilitation, especially psychological rehabilitation. And I'm very happy to say that Ukraine has adopted the Israeli model, the Israeli approach to the question of rehabilitation, and it's been implemented everywhere in Ukraine. For instance, here in Kiev, there is a center which was created by the municipality of Kiev, which is based on the Israeli model. All the professionals who work in this center were trained by the Israeli professionals, and it's a very popular place. Many people come to this place to get and to seek some sort of assistance, psychological assistance, and I'm hoping that it works, and we continue this cooperation, we continue this assistance to Ukraine, because there is no other country like Israel which has such an experience in this field. For sad reasons, because we've fought our wars for many years, for many decades. But that's the reason why we've gained such a unique experience that we are happily sharing now with Ukraine.
Not only military and grown-ups suffer from the war, but kids as well. And Israeli writer Lilach Kipnis, who was sadly killed on October 7th, she wrote a book for kids how to hide in a bomb shelter, which is amazing, because before this war we would think it's something really like maybe special, but now we totally understand it. And there are also therapy rooms. And these psychological instruments were also adopted from Israel, I think.
You're absolutely right, and unfortunately many kids were killed or taken hostages following the 7th of October. And we also have this experience of dealing with post-trauma that kids are suffering from. And we provided and shared this experience with our Ukrainian colleagues. I just want to mention a couple of projects that we promoted as the embassy. For instance, our artist came here to paint in the bomb shelter, including the Children's Hospital of Ahmedit. They painted the bomb shelter and in different schools and in different cities in Ukraine, including in the eastern part, close to the front line. And also our psychologists trained their colleagues, both physically and online, to deal with the post-trauma that the Ukrainian kids are suffering from. And I think that this approach has already lots of influence and lots of impact here in Ukraine.
Your Excellency, during the recent meeting between President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, they discussed providing Ukraine with aid for water supply worth $1.2 million. How are this project going on, and which cities have already got this aid?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking. We have indeed purchased a few systems for water purification. We've installed some of these systems in different regions of Ukraine. One was installed in Uman. Two additional systems were installed here in Kiev area. One was installed in Chernihiv area, and some additional systems are supposed to be installed in southern Ukraine, in Odessa region. So we are, despite the fact that the war is still going on in Israel, we are happy to continue our assistance to Ukraine, and we are still providing some essential humanitarian assistance. We know that there is a huge problem of fresh water, of drinking water in some regions of Ukraine, so we've decided to address this problem, and that's why we decided to allocate this budget towards this project.
Does Israel possess a special expertise in water supply projects?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have very significant expertise in dealing with water both for agriculture and for urban areas, especially technologies related to water purification, the usage of water and so on. And even before the war, we started sharing this experience with Ukraine. But now I believe that this experience will be very relevant to Ukraine, which is facing very serious problems with water, especially in the east and in the south of the country.
Yeah, there were times when people were cut off water, and there were volunteers delivering this water to make people just drink and use it for home usage.
Yes, and during the war we also provided drinking water to different areas in Ukraine, and I'm very proud of this project. This was a very important project for me.
In June this year, you stated that Israel had allegedly transferred U.S. origin air defense missiles for Ukraine, but later this information was denied. So could you just shortly clarify the issue?
I know that the President has recently related to this issue. I have nothing to add to what the President has said. And as I used to say in most of my interviews, I prefer not to talk publicly about these issues. I think that the issues of military cooperation should be discussed secretly between the relevant people through special channels and not publicly, and I'm not going to add anything to this.
Our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Andriy Sybiga, stated that our country has considerable potential for developing cooperation in medicine, cybersecurity, any other spheres. So what spheres are most, promising for such cooperation?
Well, I totally agree, and I believe that there are several spheres where can we promote cooperation, even now, but much more after the war. And the main spheres as I can identify, are first of all agriculture, and the Israeli experience in advanced agriculture is especially relevant to Ukraine. Water management that we've already mentioned, and health, absolutely. I mean, Israel has a huge and amazing reputation for its health services. Many Ukrainians used to go for medical help to Israel, and many doctors came here and are still coming here to share their experience. So I think this is one of the obvious areas where we can cooperate. I think infrastructure, cybersecurity, quite many fields that we can cooperate on. And I believe that the Israeli experience of developing the country and developing the economy, despite the war and despite the security threats, is crucial for Ukraine, is extremely relevant to Ukraine. And even I remember that the President Zelensky mentioned it at the beginning of war. He said that Ukraine will inevitably turn into big Israel. I think he meant exactly what I said. He meant that Ukraine will have to develop its economy, will have to develop its democracy, its society, despite the ongoing war and despite the threats, which unfortunately will not go anywhere.
Many countries already signing in for recovery projects in Ukraine after the war. Is Israel also a part of them?
Israel is very interested to be part of the Ukraine rebuilding of Ukraine after the war. The Israeli companies are constantly participating in all the international events dedicated to this issue. But we should see, it depends very much on how and when the war will be over. And the Israeli companies are ready to participate. Israel is very interested to participate and to share its knowledge, to share its experience, to share its best practices with Ukraine. And as I said, I believe that our knowledge is extremely relevant to Ukraine and will be very, very relevant to Ukraine after the war.
Your Excellency, thank you for this conversation. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.